So every couple of years, we have people who venture into the political space, who choose to participate, who choose to get involved, who choose not to sit down and allow things pass them by. And they've had very unique stories over the last couple of years, going back as far back as 2015, and then more recently in 2019. The update is really geared to be able to explore those stories, to understand the things that have moved these people, one, to get into the arena, and for those who have decided to move on from the arena to understand the realities they faced. And then for those who choose to stay in, like our next guest, we want to understand the things that have motivated and evolved their conviction as it pertains to participating in the political process here in Nigeria. A big thing that is also important to us is to understand the role that women play and the experiences that they have within this arena. On that note, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Update. My name is Aniekan Ani-Ezekiel, and I have with me here.
My name is Madaki.
Today we have a really great guest in the house. Just really because of the passion that has come through, even as we started this conversation, and what that has meant for how she has chosen to chart her course in terms of taking responsibility here in Nigeria. I have the immense pleasure of welcoming today Khadijah Abdullahi, who wears many hats, a politician, but more importantly has a passion for social impact and social change within Nigeria. She has decided to lend her time to explain to us and to walk us through the process of her own candidacy, what that has meant in the past, and what that means for her today. Thank you very much, Khadijah.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. I keep complimenting your smile. I think that's it's a great place to start. That somebody like you can still smile after everything that you have gone through, both in the 2019 and then choosing once again to step forward. The question for me, I guess, is why? Because many people aren't as given to go again. So if you're going again with this smile, the question is why?
So I'm going again because the major reason is to wipe away the tears and pains of the people in Niger State, my people in Niger State. So somebody was asking me how the campaign was going, and I said it's painfully beautiful.
Okay.
Painfully, because as I traverse across the Niger in my communities, I've gone to about 14 to 15 local government already, and I have seen painfully the decay, the horrific state of our people. I have felt their pains and their tears as they share their stories with us. I have seen how I met a young woman with about 7 to 8 children who is now widowed because her husband was killed by bandits. So I said painfully beautiful. I was also honored to be in the spaces of this grassroots women who were excited. I'm hoping that this will encourage more women to sit at the policy table in Niger State, because I've seen that a lot of women in Niger State, we only have 3 commissioners, only 3. We have just one the State House of Assembly, female.
Just one.
Women are grossly underrepresented in Niger State, and we don't even know if she's coming out again. Even though I know that there are more women right now vying for different positions in the state. So yes, those are my biggest why And I also see that finally this is like a furtherance of the work that I've been doing over the years.
For most people who are just meeting Khadijah Abdullahi for the first time, in 2019, she was the vice presidential candidate of the Alliance of New Nigeria party, and you did brilliantly well at the debates, which I watched
I
live on
did.
TV. Yes, and you spoke a lot about local government and devolution of power, which is why she's now running for the position of the governor under the APGA party in Niger State. But what I picked from that debate was your interest in local governments, the grassroots. And so you've been able to learn from your experience in 2019, and you didn't give up, you're still here for the 2023 elections. One of the things we focus on at the update here is what lessons do you learn from failure? So we feel it's okay to fail. Failure is a beautiful thing. But what were the lessons you learned in 2019 from that process and cycle, which you're changing in 2023?
Okay, so what are the lessons I learned in? I learned a lot of lessons, and during it was in 2019 that one of my team members, my closest team members, was kidnapped for a few days, and I could not eat or sleep or drink or something. So in this election, I'm more careful about security.
Interesting. So just walk me through that experience a bit, because it also highlights some of the background dynamics when it comes to candidacy for people. If the person was kidnapped for a while, and can you tell me how that perhaps affected you in the moment, and how it affected your candidacy in the moment? Because I'm thinking to myself, if you kidnap a friend of mine, I may have to stop. I may have to
That
put
was
out.
that one is like a song.
Hmm.
And I can't even believe that he's one of the people that even pushed me to come out again this time around. So on that day we're supposed to go to visit the emirs and the emir of Kano, and nobody even told me. So he said he would prefer to go by road. So he wanted to go with some of the magazines, and he wanted to. He likes to drive. So he was in the car with one of my team members again, who is the photographer, videographer, and all of that. So they didn't even tell me that that happened. I was at the airport waiting for fella to go to, and the fella they heard, I didn't hear. He didn't. Nobody told me. If anybody had told me, I may not have gone through that. So I didn't hear. So I was just about to board when I was told that. Because I kept calling them, where are these boys? Where are these boys? And they were not picking. And finally, the videographer picked the phone and was telling me that Uzziah is not close by, but he's going to call you back. I said, okay. I was about to step into the plane, and then he said, Uzziah has been kidnapped. I didn't, my whole entire being started shaking. I didn't know what to do, but what I did was I boarded, and through I can't remember when we got to Kano. And I had this lump in my throat. I didn't know what else to do. All I was thinking of, somebody else's child has been kidnapped because of you. And I didn't know I really didn't know what to do. I went into the hotel room and I broke down. I cried. Took me a while, and then they said that we had to leave the hotel to go and see the emir. And I was wondering, God, I have to put up a smile, my clean toothpaste, when I'm dying inside. Like, I don't know where this boy is. I have to smile throughout this process. When somebody's child, I don't even know the condition that he's in, or maybe he's been killed, or I don't even know. And everybody around me said, oh, you still have to go. And this is part of the things you're going to go through when you guys win. And I'm like, that was the most difficult thing. And every time right now, I'm just holding back. That is one of the most difficult things for a mother to feel helpless, to do not know what else to do. And then you still have to put up a face and a smile. That, I think, has strengthened me throughout this process, because right now we're more careful in our movement, because Niger State has become a hotspot for insecurity. So yeah.
I think we're going to need a couple of minutes. Every time I hear it, I feel there is a need to take a couple of minutes to digest that for many reasons, but chief of which is that our politics, even amongst us youth, is still very much targeted at sometimes I feel like the way we participate still centers around our ambitions, how we see ourselves. But from what I'm understanding now, this deeper tone of service really will have nothing to do with the individual per se, so much as the lasting impact or effect it has on others. I don't even know that we're thinking about it in that sense of a deeper tone of service. So it's a very interesting idea. But I'm then going to want to ask you, if you have this orientation around service and the long-term outcome that service can create, have you met people on your campaign trail, and I'd want to know what your experience is like, especially with young people who perhaps have the same mindset or a different mindset? So I guess the question I'm asking is, what have you encountered by way of your own experience as you've gone out dealing with young people who've volunteered or who've helped out? What have you encountered as their own prevailing mindset versus your own coming in? Have you found people who are similar, or have you found a variation?
So when the whole campaign started with young youth, they're the ones that put a lot of pressure for me to come out. I did not want to come out this 2023. I wanted to observe. I didn't want to leave politics either, because I don't want to be among those people that complains and do nothing about it. I like action a lot. So they were pestering me, people everywhere, the youth. And before you know it, they formed their own team. They formed the team themselves, the youth that I'm working with, they're all youth. Titi is one of them. They formed their own team. They have not been paid, but they're still working. That's because they've already bought into the mission and the vision, and they know that that at the end of the day, whatever value they add to this campaign is going to be something that comes back to them. They understand that. However, I still have some people that saw that after a while that the monies are not coming the way they left. And that's how I gauge my life. When you're coming to work in our organization, we have the SI group of companies. It's a group of social enterprises. So when you're coming to work, I don't even, when Titi started out, I didn't even know what she read. So we have a model of, we're looking at the person, the individual. We're not looking at your certification, your whatever, maybe first class. I don't care about your first class. What I care about is your humanity. Because until you have humanity in you, that's when you can work with me. Until you understand, even you may not be there yet, but you understand that is important. What you're looking at is not money. You're looking at something deeper than money. That's when you can work with me.
So let's talk about the fact that you look at social media today, everybody knows the problems. Everybody has an idea of how to fix it, and you just like snap your finger, this is easy peasy, I can do it. But very few people actually get their hands dirty to do it. Now, you're one of the few who has gone beyond ideas and beyond talk to actually getting into the space to participate and run. What advice do you have for young people who wants to start? What's an inroad? Because we hear things like politics is local, you need structure, you need to be in the system. you had to get into the system one way or the other.
One of the first things that you have to learn is what motivates you to run, and which are the questions I asked earlier. Is it about the money? Is it about recognition? Is it about whatever, all those things that young people are always like, fame or fortune, or it's cool to be a governor or whatever? Is it about that? So you have to ask this question. Number one, what motivates you? What do I have to offer? You have to ask yourself, what do you have to offer? Are you ready? Because there are so many levels of readiness. Is this fight winnable? And I can break each of them down. And once I am elected, will I do the work required to make the change that you're going in there for? And I think this questions also applies not just the youth, also the older people who are going in. If you can't answer these questions sincerely and genuinely, I don't think you're ready. So what motivates you? I've already talked about it. Why? What is it?
Levels of readiness.
Yes. So what do I have to offer? What have you done? What are your antecedents? Why do you think that? What do you think you have in you that you want to offer to your community, be it at the ward level or wherever? So many people ask me, why the gubernatorial candidacy? Why don't you start with the House of Reps or what? People ask me that, and I tell them that, what are the rules of the state House of Assembly? What are the rules? Their rules are limited. Their impacts are limited. It's limited to constituency, project, and all of that. I'm not saying that I'm looking at it condescendingly or in any way. I'm just saying that, what are their rules? What are the rules of the senator? How expansive, how impactful would it be? I'm not saying that it's not impactful. It depends on what you do with whatever role you are given. But the only reason I felt that it's better I go for gubernatorial candidacy is because I felt that you have the executive power to make policies. You have the knife and the meat, and if you surround yourself with the right people who are thinking like you, the best team, and you understand the issues. I just came out of SPPG, and where our mind, we had disruptive content on how to solve the issues. So if you surround yourself with the right people, you'll be able to go a long way. You cannot solve it all, but you're going to do considerably a lot of things. Niger State is like a fertile land. It's very fertile. It has 76% of the 76 kilometers of land, like 10% of the Nigerian land, the biggest state in the whole country. And yet, we are the 8th on the chart for poverty. You understand that? So what do you have to offer? You have to understand what you have to offer. You have to ask yourself, are you ready? How do you get yourself ready? Have you done anything in public service? Like maybe what you guys are doing? Do you understand the issues? Are you ready? Also has to do with your family. If you're a woman, mostly, are you in the best health or the best mental state? Or are you also, do you have somebody that you have to care for in your family that needs your attention, that does not need a divided attention? For me, my husband is retired. All my children are grown. So if it's the best time, this is the best time for me to do whatever impact I want to do. So are you ready is on those levels. You have to look at all the levels that surround you as a person, as an individual, and also what you have to offer within you, your creativity, your innovativeness, whatever you have. Then is this fight winnable? So in Niger State, I'm using myself as to answer this question. In Niger State, there's a zoning thing there going on. So it's a turn for us the Nupi from the Bida area to run. This is the first time somebody from Bida is running. So you have to look at all of those levels, and you need to sit down and decipher that is it winnable? Because if you're not from that zone, it's very hard for you to win. And it's not as if it's a written law, but basically that has been inculcated into the electoral process. So I'm from the Bida zone. Is it winnable? You also have to weigh your candidacy. What do the people want? For us, we had to do needs assessment. Because we are into development, so we had to apply all of those contexts to the politicking. We did a SWOT analysis. We weighed my strength, my weakness, my opportunity, and the threat. So the opportunity for me is the fact that APC has done woefully bad. They didn't do, I wouldn't say they did anything anyhow. They failed woefully. So, and the people are tired. A lot of things the people are very tired and they are disoriented. A lot of them even said they were not going to vote. You need to ask yourself those honest questions. It is only you can answer it. So you have to look at your background, where you're coming from. What have you done in the past? The things that you wanted to do for your organization, were you able to get them done? That's the simplest way to go about it. If you had been in politics before, what value have you added to your people that you want to go a notch higher? There was something you said initially that I forgot to answer about the failure process.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I think failure is a process. I don't think that we failed. I feel that, personally, 2018 is just a stepping stone to this.
Correct. So while you answer that, and I stole this from him, if and when you become governor, what one thing will you do that would be radical and impactful, that would leave a mark that says Khadijah was here?
One thing.
One.
If you had to pick one.
So first and foremost, the acronym for my manifesto is service. I'm sure you're not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
So service, I'll tell you the one thing, but let me go down. Service, S is for security, E is for education, R is for rural inclusion and agriculture. That's the one. That's the one thing. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I'm telling you one thing that I wanted, the huge legacy I want to leave behind. So then the V is vital health. The I is industrialization, and we're also looking at the fourth industrial revolution. Then the C is commerce and industry, commerce and trade, including tourism, which is very, very important. Tourism is the biggest deal now all over the world. People, we don't have a lot of it here, and we have so many beautiful places in Niger State that we have not even scratched the surface. So, and then the E is the e-governance. But what do I want to leave a huge legacy for you? We need to replan them. We need to harness the human and the natural resources in these rural spaces and number each one of them. So by the time we're leaving, there's a structure on the ground to continue the process of developing the rural areas. Why are we doing that? We want to lessen the rural-urban migration. Imagine if you have all the things that you need in your rural area. You don't have to come to Abuja and spend so much money to rent a house, to look for a livelihood, or to do all of that. You stay in your community and harness the God-given talent that you have as an individual. You harness the best of the opportunities that space is giving you.
Okay. I must admit, I I wasn't expecting that to be the angle, but it is a very interesting angle,
Yes.
one that I would love to explore, and I would love to talk some more.
He mentioned what I thought, what my debate was about.
Yes.
If you develop every local government in Niger State, you are bursting out into the world. I must confess, I see Niger State as a country, not a small state.
It is quite large.
Yes.
Yes, there are countries that are
Yes.
smaller than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Niger State is bigger than Netherlands,
Yes.
Bigger than Netherlands.
And look at what Netherlands is giving, the kinds of food.
especially in agriculture,
Biggest, like
milk
the
production
first,
as
that's why I
well.
said rural inclusion and agriculture.
Yeah.
And we have like two types of soil, the cool and the car soil, which can grow anything depending on what it is.
Interesting. I fear that if we don't, in fact, if we don't have a strong hold on this, we might have a series of discussions. But one of the things that I think, as we start to sort of round this up, one of the things that is most strong on my mind is the fact that you're a woman who is doing all of this, and I've heard quite a number of stories about different things that have happened to you, but I am curious as to the one that stands out for you most as a woman. And here's why I say that. We had Aisha Ogi, who was here, who mentioned that there was a family meeting
Over 200
of
people.
over 200 people because she decided to run. And that really got me thinking about the different kinds of, for want of a better expression, social violence that women go through in the pursuit of leadership, in the pursuit of contribution to their environment. And I'm curious if you have any of those stories, because there are women who are listening to you, who would have experiences that are very unique that perhaps as men we may not necessarily.
So for me, I think in 2019, there's still people in my family that don't speak to me because I agreed to run with Paladuro. There are still, for this one, we thought that was going to be very, very bad because there's this saying that people bandy, they misinterpret it. According, some people, religiosity and all of that, try to maneuver religious statements.
Mhm.
So I had to do my research. I had to ask some clerics, and then I found out that those were misinterpreted. So it weighed heavily on me because of my spirituality. I didn't want to do something. Okay, I have the best intentions, but how does it fuse into what my belief system says? And then that was why I had to put in that work to do the researches, and I found out that it was just a misinterpret. It was just misinterpreted. So, being a woman for me in this race, this particular race, has been one of my biggest strengths. Because the people in Niger State right now are they are thirsty, hungry for genuine, sincere, compassionate leadership. That is how much they've been abused, they've been marginalized, they've been in horrific states, and they've been in so much poverty that when you go there, you cry. Where a lot of people who are elites do not even have an idea of what is happening in these rural spaces because they don't even go. Yeah, they see the ones that has happened on the roads, that there are no roads, yeah, and then they start fixing them. But they do not know what the people, the main people who vote, and these are the people who vote, what they're going through. So for me, gender right now is not a problem for me. And the only problem is just the social. There's still people who do not want to accept. There's this silent code of how dare you come out? Who are you to come out? And all of those things. I see them when I relate with the gender, the elites, the elites in the state, but the grassroots are wide,
Yeah,
Right open.
wide open.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yes, I actually think.
Ladies and gentlemen, Khadijah Abdullahi, a gubernatorial candidate of the APGA
APGA.
Niger State. She ran in 2019 as vice president under the Alliance for New Nigeria. She's been in the CSO and NGO space for tons of years, 15 years. I also watched your TED talk,
Oh,
and so she speaks a lot about patriotism. So she didn't just start from nowhere, she's been laying the foundation for this. And this is why you're one of the people we want to speak to, people who didn't just appear from nowhere, who have tried and are still trying. And we do wish you all the best in your endeavors. Like you said, we are writing history for the next generation.
yes.
Same way I was able to find your debates, same way I was able to find you on YouTube, your TEDx talks. This is you setting a precedent and writing your own history for generations to come.
Thank you.
So we're giving you your flowers and telling you well done and
Thank
all
you.
the best
Thank you
from
so
the
much.
update
Thank
team.
you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. And until we come again, stay safe, do your research, and let's take our country into our
And
hands.
vote.
And vote.
And
And
vote.
vote. And vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.